Morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever it is for you right now. So, how do you feel about your job and work right now? Ever felt disengaged, uninspired, detached, overwhelmed? Maybe tired of the company caring more about the bottom line than they care about you as a person? Maybe you've simply stopped caring. Ever felt that way? Maybe you're in a leadership role right now and you're trying to figure out how to re-engage these kind of employees. Maybe you're feeling disengaged, uninspired, detached, maybe a little overwhelmed yourself. Maybe you're not sure what to do next and wondering if you even cut out for the role. Maybe you don't even want the job anymore. Maybe you've stopped caring and now you're just following orders. If any of this sounds familiar, then I encourage you to stay with me and watch a few videos and then decide if what I'm saying makes sense for you. My name is Brett Holscher, and I have spent most of my 47-year career in formal or informal leadership roles and working with leaders, managers, and their teams. I've worked in many different companies in my career in local, regional, and national roles. I've experienced many situations professionally and personally with different leadership styles and personalities. I've repeatedly experienced what works and what doesn't work in leadership and with people. And my content isn't from academic research or study groups, MBA programs, town hall meetings, surveys, where a third party comes in, interviews everybody, and then tells the company what they should do to re-engage with their employees. All of this is what you call knowledge. It's what you gain from studying data and information. What I'm sharing is real life, practical experience from someone who's actually lived in the role and worked side by side with hundreds of leaders and managers and their teams on their turf in their environment, working through real issues with real people in real life. And this is what you call wisdom. And it's what you gain from actually experiencing the application of knowledge, what really happens, not what you think is going to happen. A lot of this stuff that I'm sharing, nobody really tells you. At least nobody told me. I had to learn things the hard way. You read, you ask questions, you try something, you make mistakes, you learn from those mistakes, and you try something new. And it takes a long time to turn this learned knowledge into practical wisdom. And when I share these ideas that I've developed over the years, a lot of the times they act like they've never heard this before because it doesn't line up with what their company wants from them. And through experience, I blended human psychology, philosophy, formal learning, and a ton of practical experience, and it simply makes sense to a lot of people. Now, you might find my material to be a little blunt at times, and that's okay. And you may not agree with me, and that's okay too. I talk in pretty plain, basic language. I don't use corporate speak or corporate jargon or current buzzwords or phrases that many times sound condescending or make people think that you're trying to be smarter than they are. And in case you didn't know, most people start emotionally shutting down when they hear that kind of stuff. My comments and opinions may not line up with typical corporate America or traditional business thinking. I might be in conflict with what your leaders are telling you, what your boss is telling you, what your managers are telling you, or maybe what other leadership advisors tell you. And the reason is because I do not focus on the business results first and disregard the value of the people. Nor do I focus only on the people and disregard the business. But to me, the most important thing is the people who make the business work. And that's where I'm coming from. Simon Sinek once said, 100% of your employees are people. 100% of your customers are people. If you don't understand people, you don't understand business. And I think typical business leaders of today have simply forgotten this, or maybe they just don't care. A lot of what I'm sharing is, it's going to be coming from a leadership perspective, but it's really just about understanding yourself and people around you. It doesn't matter whether you're in a formal leadership role, because the reality is right now, each one of you is the leader of the most important thing you have, which is your life. We're all leaders of our own lives, and we need to understand and own this. So why am I doing this? What do I get out of all this? Well, that's really pretty easy. I get to share everything I've learned in my career with others so that maybe, just maybe, it'll make a difference to someone. I have always had a servant leadership mindset and kind of a help one, help all perspective. And I'd look at it, if I help one person and maybe make a difference in that person's life, and they help another person make a difference in their lives, and then everything kind of flows from there. To be honest, I just get tired of watching people struggle with the same problems over and over again. Leaders making the same mistakes, following the same old playbook that someone taught them from someone who taught them, and it just doesn't work anymore. People are different today. They want to feel a sense of purpose, and that is being lost. I get tired of hearing companies say publicly about how much they care about their employees, and then privately they only care about the financial contribution and whether this employee is actually worth keeping, even though they've done very little to actually engage that person in the areas that matter to them. I've experienced what happens when leadership succeeds and teams work, and when leadership falls apart and teams fail. I've watched businesses decline and never recover. I've also watched where an effective leader can take over for an ineffective leader and immediately turn that culture around. It doesn't really matter what part of the country you're in, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. It's all variations of the same thing, which is ineffective leadership. We can and really should be better than this. So, last, I want to say this journey is for everyone, not just leaders and not just leaders at work. A minute ago, I said every single one of us is a leader of our own life, all day, every day. You think, say, and do things every day that affect you and others. You are a leader right now. You might also be the leader or co-leader with your kids and your family. You might be a leader in the community or another group you're involved with. You might coach youth sports or other activities. We're all leaders in this regard. And what I'm sharing applies to each and every one of us, professionally and personally. With all that said, I invite you to stay with me. Watch a few videos and decide for yourself if it's worth your time. If nothing else, you'll get a true view of why I believe people are struggling with leadership in America today. As we go along, I'll get into a little more general discussion about, why we behave the way we do, why we act and react the way we do, how our program belief system takes over, and many other human behavior topics, because it all ties into leadership and it all ties into each one of us. And when you're watching these things, you may only get one idea out of each video, but you never know when one simple idea can change everything for you, change your perspective, cause you to think differently, make you want to be a better person in that area, or maybe make you want to be a better leader. And it might just help you understand why things happen the way they do. You'll feel more engaged and more inspired at work and home. And if you find this isn't for you, that's fine, but I appreciate you at least giving me a shot. Anyway, best of luck, and I hope to see you again on the next video.